Greetings to everyone. Hope you're all doing well in these difficult times. Now let us continue our Gita study. The Shanti Mantra, peace chant for today's class is a stanza from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, a mantra from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. This is on page 70 of Universal Prayers, at the top of page 70, and the English translation is on page 71 at the top. Om Tvam Stri Tvam Pumanasi Tvam Kumara Utava Kumari Tvam Jirno Dandena Vanchasi Tvam Jato Bhavasi Vishwato Mukhaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. O Lord, you are woman, appear in the form of all women. You appear in the form of all men. You also in the form of all the youth, and you are in the form of all the maiden. Thou art the old man tottering on the staff. Thou dost appear born in manifold forms. All forms are your own manifestations. Om peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Last time we were studying verse number 24, which is a very familiar verse to all, because that is the verse we chant before we take our meals. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, that verse. There Sri Krishna depicts the act of eating as a yajna. Yajna means offering something without expecting a result, without attachment to result of offering. Giving something to somebody or some entity and not saying, I don't want the fruit of this action, I am not attached, detachment from the fruit of action. That is yajna. That kind of offering is yajna. Otherwise, offering, giving something to somebody with expecting fruit, some benefit from it, that is a bondage. It ties us to the fruit of action. We have to go through the fruit of action, karma phala, then that will create more need for more action, resulting in more karma phala, fruit of action. Thus will be caught in the cycle of karma, karma phala, karma, karma phala, karma and its fruit, karma and its fruit, and then this will continue life after life. We don't want that. We want liberation. If we want liberation, then we should offer everything that we do, without exception, everything that we do, with the exception of immoral, illegal actions which you should not do at all. Everything we do should be offered as yajna, as a sacrifice, done as a sacrifice. Sacrifice means giving, not expecting anything in return. Then we are not bound by the karma phala, by the fruit of action. So eating is also such an action of yajna. How should eating be seen as a yajna? Is very simple. It is explained in this verse 24. The food that is being offered when we take food is an offering made to the presence of God as Vaishwanara. In the 15th chapter, verse number 14, Sri Krishna has said that God is present in the form of all the living beings, animals, plants and people, as the power of digestion, Vaishwanara Agni. So whatever we eat is an offering to the Lord who is present within us, as the power of digestion, Vaishwanara Agni. And the food that we are offering is also a manifestation of Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Upanishad says. And the person who offers it, makes the offering, is also a manifestation of Brahman. Everything is, your whole universe is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. If we see everything as Brahman and do all actions as offering to Brahman, then that is the way to purify the mind and become totally free from selfishness and attachment. A person who thus meditates on Brahman while performing all action, does all action as offering to Brahman, sees Brahman in all actions, does all actions as yajna, as offering, such a person realizes Brahman, realizes his true nature as Brahman. So that was verse number 24. From 25 onwards, for about 12-13 verses, slokas in the Gita, Sri Krishna talks about various kinds of sacrifices. Every action that we do should be seen and performed as yajna, as sacrifice. Then we are not bound by the result. It will not accrue to us. Samskara will not be formed. The slate will be clean. Otherwise, if you do action with attachment, samskara will be formed. Samskara means impression, will be formed in our mind. And that impression will come to surface and necessitate more action. If we will be get caught in the cycle of karma, karma phala, karma, karma phala. But if you do all actions as yajna, then the result will not touch us. No samskaras are formed and we are free. So that is why Sri Krishna says all actions have to be done as yajna. Now verse number 25 onwards, various kinds of yajna are being described. So let us do verse number 25. Daivameva pare yajñam yoginah paryupasate brahmagnau apare yajñam yajñenaiva pajuhvati. Some yogins offer sacrifices to various deities. Others sacrifice in the fire of Brahman by means of the sacrifice itself. That means, in the first line, Daiva Yajna, apare yoginaha Daiva Yajnam kurvanti paryupasate. They perform Daiva Yajna. Daiva Yajna means offering to various deities. For example, people do Ganapati Homa. Ganapati Homa, various offerings are made to Lord Ganesha. Some people do Chandi Homa. They do all kinds of offering to Divine Mother Chandi. Like this, to various deities, homas are performed, offerings are made. That is one kind of yajna. Dravya yajna, material sacrifice, external performance of yajna. The other kind of deva yajna is to do puja parayanadi. Puja means worship of various kinds, worshipping various deities. That is Daiva Yajna. Parayana means chanting various hymns. Hymns, Vedic hymns such as Rudram, Chamakam, Devi Suktam, Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam. These are all Vedic hymns. Chanting hymns is one kind of yajna, Daiva Yajna. Parayana chanting can be done of various other hymns occurring in the various Puranas. For example, Chandi, the famous hymn which many people chant, also known as Devi Mahatmyam or Durga Saptashati, that occurs in the Markandeya Purana. And the Vishnu Sahasranama, which is very common, occurs in the Mahabharata. Like this, various chanting of various hymns occurring in the Vedas, in the Puranas, in other scriptures, composed by various sages in various languages. That Parayanam is chanting hymns in praise of the deities, describing glories of God. That is also Deva Yajna. So some people do this kind of yajna, Deva Yajna. Second line of verse 25, Brahmagnau apare. Apare means other people. Brahmagnau, in the fire of Brahman, yajnam yajnenaiva upajuhvati. Yajnam here means, in the second line, yajna means Atman. The word yajna is used with a different meaning in the second line of verse 25. Yajna means Atmanam, one's own self. is offered in the fire of Brahman. Brahmagna means in the fire of Brahman, each individual soul can offer itself or himself or herself to Brahman. What does it mean, offering oneself to Brahman? It means I am as a separate individual is only an aberration, misperception. Only Brahman exists. Only Brahman exists, nothing else. Ekmeva dvitiyam. There is no second entity besides Brahman. But I am seeing me as a separate person. Other people are there, other things are there, animals are there. All these are nothing but various manifestations of Brahman in the plane of duality in which we live. So offering one's own Jivatman, myself, into the fire of Brahman means merging one's own individual self in the divine self, merging oneself in Brahman. How to understand this one? With the help of an example. This example comes in the Mundaka Upanishad. And a river is there. So many rivers are flowing in different directions, following different courses, some narrow, some wide. Sometimes they follow a straight line, sometimes they follow a cricket course. Eventually all rivers merge into the ocean. Then what happens to the rivers? Once they merge into the ocean, they don't remain a separate river as a separate river in the ocean. In the ocean there is no compartment. This was Yamuna river, this was Ganga river, this was Mississippi river. There is no separate area in the ocean. They all become one with the ocean. Only ocean remains. In the same way, all the individual souls, such as each one of us, if we offer ourselves in the fire of Brahman, we become one with Brahman. That means this kind of yajna involves meditation on Aham Brahmasmi, famous Mahavakya in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I am that Brahman. I am not what I appear to be as individual being. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the sense organs. I am not all the action that I do. It's all Brahman only. Actually, that is only Brahman is remaining. I am that. So, offering one separate identity as a Jivatman, individual, into the fire of Brahman, becoming one with Brahman, that is its highest kind of yajna. Then only Brahman remains. We all are that and we become one with that, giving up the misperception of separateness from Brahman. We are not separate, we are that. That is second line in the verse number 25, offering oneself in the fire of Brahman. Now we go to the verse number 26. Different kinds of yajna are described in these verses. Srotradin indriyanyanye samyamagnishu juhvati Shabdadin vishayanyanye indriyagnishu juhvati. Different kinds of yajna are described here. Srotradini indriyani anye samyamagnishu juhvati. Anya means other people. Some other people, instead of doing Deva Yajna or Aham Brahmasmi Yajna, they do different kind of yajna. What is their kind of yajna? Srotradini indriyani. We have so many sense organs, 5 sense organs of perception, such as eyes and ears, etc., and 5 sense organs of action. Mind is also a sense organ. Offering all these sense organs, Srotradini indriyani. Indriya means sense organs, such as Srotra means ears, such as ears. Samyamagnishu juhvati. Samyama means self-control. In the fire of self-control, Samyamagni means the fire of self-control, juhvati they offer as yajna. What does it mean? Others sacrifice senses, hearing, etc. in the fire of restraint, practicing self-control by controlling the sense organs. That is one kind of yajna. Naturally, the sense organs have a tendency to go outside, seeking contact with sense objects. That we have seen before. There is a very well-known verse in the Upanishad. There, in the Katha Upanishad, it is said that all the sense organs, especially the 5 sense organs of perception, Gyanendriyas, eyes, ears, etc., they have a natural tendency to go out into the world of sense objects, seek contact with sense objects, hoping that such contact will bring pleasure. That is nicely described in a verse. There it is said, Paranchikani Vetranasvayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashchitinantaratman Kaschiddhira Pratyagatmanamakshat Avrata Chakshuramrtattamichan. Kani means the 5 sense organs of perception. Paranchi means they go outside into the outside world. They are outside bound. They don't go inside and look into the Atman. We generally think of the outside world. We don't think about the God within. Our mind goes outside, not inside. Only in meditation we try to go inside, touching, closing all sense organs or contact with sense objects. But that is a very short time of meditation. During that short time also mind wanders here and there. But some people practice self-control all the time. Samyamagni means the fire of self-control. In the fire of self-control means controlling sense organs. That is explained in that verse. Paranchikani Vetranasvayambhu. Naturally they have a tendency, sense organs have a tendency to go out and seek contact with sense objects. Tasmat Parang Pashyati. An individual, we see outside world. We know everything about what's happening in other people's lives. Who is doing what, who is wearing what, who is eating what, who is doing what. We know that well. But what's happening in our own hearts, the presence of God, that we don't know. Tasmat Parang Pashyati. Antaratman na Pashyati. We don't see the self within. The God within we don't see. But a rare person, Kaschid Dhiraha. Dhira means a person who has wisdom and strength both. Strength is needed to practice self-control. Weak person cannot control the senses. A weak person lets the senses roam around freely in the world of sense objects. It takes a strong person, Dhiraha, and out with wisdom also. Such a rare person, such people are rare. Ordinarily people yield to the demand of sense organs and become entangled in sense objects. Kashiddhira Pratyagatmanamaksha. Such a person succeeds in seeing the self within, Pratyagatman, seeing the Brahma, God, presence of God within. How does such a person accomplish this task? Avrata Chakshuhu. Chakshu means eyes, all sense organs. Eye means all sense organs. Avrata means reversing their direction. Instead of eyes seeing all what is happening here, there, make the eyes closed and look at the self within. Instead of hearing all kinds of sounds, close the ears and focus the attention on the self within. That is Samyamagni, controlling sense organs. Samyamagnishu Srotradini Indriyani Anye Johvati. Ananya means other people. Other people have for all the sense organs in the fire of self-control, Samyamagni. That means they control the senses. In the second line, Shabdadin Vishayan Anye Indriyagnishu Johvati. Anya means other people, some other people. Different people do different kinds of yajnas. Shabdadin Vishayan, sense objects. Vishaya means sense object. Indriyagnishu, in the fire of the senses, Indriyagni, they offer sense objects. Indriyagnishu Shabdadin Vishayan Juhvati. That means whenever we perceive any sense object through any sense organ, we are doing yajna. How it is yajna? How perceiving sense objects by sense organs is yajna? When I see something, certain object I am seeing. It may be a person, it may be something else. When I see that one, I am offering that sense object into the fire of my eyes, the organ of perception. Indriyagnishu, in the fire of sense organs, Shabdadin Vishayan Anye Juhvati. Other people offer every perception of sense object by sense organ is an offering. It should be seen that way. When I see something, I am offering that object to the sense organ of eye. When I hear something, I am offering that object to the sense organ of ear, some sound. Like that one. When I eat something, I am offering that food to the Brahman, presence of God within us, Vaishwana Agni. Like this, everything that we do, every action that we do should be seen and done as yajna. Then we are free. That is verse number 26. Now we go to verse number 27. Still description of various kinds of yajna. Every action is yajna. 27. Sarvanendriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyama yogagnau juhvati jnana deepite. Apare means other people. Sarvani, all indriya karmani, actions of sense organs. Eyes perceiving seeing something, ear hear something, skin touching something, nose smelling something. These are all actions of sense organs. Indriya karmani, actions of all sarvani indriya karmani, all actions of sense organs. Prana karmani, actions of the prana. Prana means there are 5 aspects of prana, vital energy. Cosmic energy appearing as vital energy in all the bodies. So it has 5 functions. The most commonly known function of prana is breathing. You are aware of it. Without our awareness, involuntarily many actions happen. Pranic actions happen in the body. For example, digestion of food, circulation of blood, moving of sense organs, blinking of the eyes, walking with the feet. All these are require vital force, prana shakti. They are all actions of prana shakti. All these actions, prana karmani, sarvani, all actions of prana, that means everything that we do practically. Indriya karmani, all actions of the sense organs, such as eyes seeing something, ears hearing something, nose smelling something, all these actions apply other people. Juhvati, they offer. Where do they offer all these actions? Atma samyama yogagnau. Atma samyama means self-control. Atma samyama yoga means yoga of self-control. Agni means fire. In the fire of self-control of all the sense organs, jnana deepite yogagnau. Jnana means self-knowledge. Knowledge of oneself, not worldly knowledge, not knowledge of sciences, arts and social sciences, etc. Not that kind of jnana. Jnana means self-knowledge, atma jnana here. Jnana deepite yogagnau, atma samyama yogagnau. That means in the fire of self-control, samyama means control, atma means self. In the fire of self-control, kindled by the knowledge of the self, I am Brahman. That is a fire. The knowledge that I am Brahman, self-knowledge, is the fire. In that fire, that enkindles the fire of self-control, makes us possible to control all the sense organs and the mind. They offer all our actions in the fire of self-control. Yet others sacrifice all sense activities and all activities of the vital breath, prana, in the fire of self-restraint, self-control, kindled by knowledge. Knowledge means self-knowledge, discriminative knowledge. Now 28 verse. Still different kinds of yajnas are being described here. Dravya yajnas, tapo yajna, yoga yajnas tatha pare, swadhyaya jnana yajnascha, yataya samshita vrataha. Dravya yajnaha, tapo yajnaha, yoga yajnaha. 3 kinds of yajna. Tata apare. Apare means other people perform these other kinds of yajna. Dravya yajna means material sacrifice. Setting up a home of fire, offering various homa samagri, ghee, etc., chanting mantras. That is dravya yajna. Tapo yajna means the fire of austerity, yajna of austerity. Various kinds of austerities people perform. We'll study them, different kinds of austerities. Yoga yajna means practicing Ashtanga yoga, the 8-step yoga that Patanjali describes. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. These are 8 steps of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Performing these 8 steps, practicing these 8 steps, that is yoga yajna. Different kinds of yajna. Different people do different things. Apare, other people, some people perform dravya yajna, material sacrifice. Some people do tapo yajna, sacrifice of austerities. We'll study that one. Some people do yoga yajna, practicing the 8 steps of Patanjali's 8-step yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Some other people do Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. Swadhyaya means study of scripture. That itself is done as a sacrifice. Yata means people who strive, spiritual seekers, striving seekers. Yataya Samshita Vrata, with the severe, performing severe austerities. Samshita means, Vrata means austerity. Severe austerity they perform. Various kinds of austerities. What are the various kinds of austerities they do? Tapo yajna, that we shall see now. There are 3 kinds of austerities described in the Gita. In the 17th chapter, we have studied this before. 17th chapter, verses number 14, 15, 16. These 3 verses describe 3 kinds of yajna, 3 kinds of austerities, tapas. One is austerities of the body, physical body. Second one is austerities of speech. Speech is itself is done in a certain way, as an austerity, as tapas. Third is austerity of the mind, manasam tapaha. So austerity of body are verse number 14 in chapter 17. Devadyaja guru prajna pujanam saucha marjavam brahmacharya mahimsa cha shadiram tapa uchyate. 5 austerities. We have studied this before. Chapter 17, verse 14. That is bodily austerities. Some people perform that one. All have to perform all 3 kinds of austerities actually. Second kind of austerity, tapo yajna, we are discussing tapo yajna. Tapas means austerity. Austerities of speech. Speech must be done as an austerity, not whatever is saying, whatever comes to the mind, regardless of occasion or necessity or whether it is right or wrong, without considering those things, simply saying whatever comes to the mind, heedlessly speaking. Such a speech should not be done. So there are particular ways in which speech has to be done. Those are described 5 things in verse number 15 in chapter 17. So there it says, Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya vyasanam chaiva vagmayam tapa uchyate. You are discussing tapo yajna, yajna of austerity. Speech austerity means anudvegakaram vakyam. Udvega means excitement, disturbance in somebody's mind. My mind, speaker's mind, or some listener's mind. When I say something, my speech should not cause any disturbance, should not cause any anger, embarrassment, or insult to somebody who listens to my speech. Should not cause disturbance in my mind also. Should be peaceful. My speech should create peace, not disturbance. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Satyam must be true, absolutely. Priyam, it must be pleasant. Hitam, it must be beneficial, useful. Useless talk we should not do. Swadhyaya abhyasanam, study of scriptures. All these things are austerities of speech. The third kind of austerities is austerities of the mind. Keep the mind in good condition. So those are described in the verse number 16 in chapter 17. There Sri Krishna says, Manah prasada saumyatvam maunam atmavinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasam uchyate. Manasam tapa means austerities of mind. Manah prasada, mind must be always peaceful, tranquil. Prasada means tranquility. Samyatvam, gentle. Harsh, violent thoughts we should not think. Maunam, silence is the austerity of the mind. Silence is, simply does not mean not talking. Without talking we can communicate. That is not silence. Mauna means mentally we should remain calm. Calmness of mind, that is maunam. Atma vinigraha means control of the mind and sense organs. Control of mind. Bhava samshuddhi means purity of heart. Those who are pure in heart, only they can see God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, says the Bible. Sri Ramakrishna also said, purity of heart is a requirement for seeing God. Bhava samshuddhi means our heart must be pure, free from all blemishes, impurities such as anger, jealousy, etc. These are austerities of the mind. All these are called tapo yajna. Dravya yajna, first line of verse 28, dravya yajna means material sacrifice, that we have seen before. However that people do. Tapo yajna means austerities as yajna. All these three kinds of austerities, austerities of the body, of speech and of mind, they must be done as sacrifice. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna. Yoga yajna means 8 steps of Patanjali, that kind of yajna. Other people do these kinds of yajnas. Some people do swadhyaya jnana yajna. Swadhyaya means study of scriptures done as a sacrifice, not for acquiring fame or wealth or reward or recognition, but to understand the meaning of scriptures and to put them into practice. So Sri Ramakrishna says the purpose of studying scriptures is to understand the content. Scriptures say what is to be done, and you have to put into practice what the scriptures ask us to do. That is swadhyaya yajna. Jnana yajna. Jnana yajna means studying shastrartha parijnanam jnana yajna, Shankara says. Knowledge of scriptures as a sacrifice. Masterly knowledge of Shastras itself is a sacrifice. That knowledge of scriptures has to be done not for gaining fame or rewards, but as a sacrifice. Sacrificing ignorance in the fire of knowledge, that is jnana yajna. So that is, these are different kinds of yajnas different people do. Then we go to verse number 29. Still different kind of yajnas are there. 29. Apane juhvati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapanagati ruddhva pranayama parayana. Here pranayama, controlling the breathing, is itself seen as a yajna. Apane pranam juhvati. Apana means outgoing breath. Prana means incoming breath. The incoming breath is offered as sacrifice to the outgoing breath. Tatha apare pranayapanam juhvati. They perform sacrifice, taking the breath in through one nostril, holding it for some time, taking the breath is called puraka. Holding the breath for some time is kumbhaka. Releasing the breath through the other nostril is rechaka. Doing this as a yajna, to purify, calm down the mind. What is the purpose of doing pranayama? Not to acquire powers, but to calm down the mind. When the breathing is regulated by doing pranayama, mind also becomes calm, because mind and breathing have the same common origin. Just like two ends of a rope. One end is mind, one end is the prana, breathing. If you control one, the other one fix one, the other one will be fixed also. If you move one, the other one also will move. Therefore, if mind is controlled, prana becomes streamlined. If prana is controlled, mind becomes calm. So, doing the pranayama is a means to calm down the mind. Prana, pana, gati, ruddhva. Ruddhva means controlling. Nirodha means control. Prana apana gati, by controlling the incoming prana apana outgoing breath. Pranayama parayana, those who do pranayama, they also do yajna, operate. They do this kind of yajna, pranayama yajna. In verse number 29. Now, we go to verse number 30. Still more kinds of yajna are described. In a nutshell, everything that we do, including breathing, seeing, hearing, touching, walking, smelling, everything is yajna, should be done as yajna. That means as an offering, is sacrifice. Then we are not attached to actions. We are not attached to fruit of action. Everything that we do should be done as yajna, as offering. Keeping that attitude in our mind, this is the offering to the Lord. This Sri Krishna says in many places in the Gita. Chapter 3, verse number 30, Sri Krishna said, do all actions is offering to me. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. In the Gita, Sri Krishna says repeatedly, whatever action you do, do it as an offering to me. Offering means yajna. Then we are not bound by the result. That is the advantage. Verse number 30. Apare niyata hara pranan praneshu juhvati sarvepyete yajna vido yajnyak sapita kalmashaha. Apare, other people, niyata hara. Niyata means control, ahara means food, controlling intake of food. In the 6th chapter of the Gita, Sri Krishna is going to say, 4 things have to be done with moderation: eating, sleeping, working and relaxation. So these 4 kinds of things have to be done in moderation. Eating should be done in moderation, at the right amount, just required amount, at the right time, in the right way, in the right place. Chanting the name of God before eating. That is how eating should be done. So that is also yajna, as we have seen before. Apare niyata haraha, those who control, other people control eating and do it as yajna. Pranan praneshu juhvati, sacrifice vital breath in vital breath. Breathing itself is an act of sacrifice. Sarvepi yete yajna vidaha, those who know yajna, those who know how to perform all actions as yajna, they are sarva vidaha, yajna vidaha, those who know how to do all actions as yajna. Ete sarve yajna vidaha, all these people who do every action as yajna, including breathing, eating, walking, sleeping, seeing. Those who do all actions as yajna, those who know the science of yajna. Yajna sapita kalmashaha, they become free from all sins, impurities, being purified by doing all actions as yajna. What is the benefit of doing all actions as yajna? Mind becomes pure. Ignorance will go away. Knowledge will dawn. That means liberation. So this, in summary, everything should be done as yajna. In one single short sentence, do everything as yajna. Now we go to verse number 31. Yajna shishta mrita bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayam lokosti ayajnasya kutonya kurusattama. O Arjuna, Kurusattama, the best among the Kuru princes, those who partake of the remains of yajna by performing all actions yajna, they Brahma Sanatanam yanti, reach Brahman. Those people who do all actions as yajna, partake in the whatever comes as a result of yajna as prasada, as grace of God, doing all actions as yajna and whatever comes partaking of that one. Such people, they reach Brahman, Sanatanam Brahma yanti. Yajna shishta amrita bhujaha. Amrita means nectar. Shishta means remaining. Yajna means after doing yajna. After doing all actions as yajna, whatever remains, yajna shishta, yajna shesha. Amrita bhujaha, those who take it as nectar of what remains after performing yajna. Such people, Sanatanam Brahma yanti, they reach the eternal Brahman. Ayajnasya, for a person who does not do yajna. Ayajna means one who does not do yajna, does everything as selfish action, desiring the result of everything. Such a person is called ayajna. Ayajnasya, such a person who does not do yajna, ayam lokaha nasti, this world also he will not succeed. Such a person who does not do everything as yajna does not find happiness in this world. Ayam lokaha nasti. Anya kotaha, anya lokaha kotaha. From where does he get happiness in the other world? So that means for a person who does not do everything as yajna, for such a person there is no happiness in this world, there is no happiness in the world hereafter. Such a person will not find happiness anywhere. So what's the conclusion? Instruction is perform all actions as yajna, sacrifice, offering, without attachment to fruit of action. Now concluding verse. Verse number 32. Evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidyitan sarvan evam jnatva vimoksyase. Evam, in this way, bahuvida yajna, all kinds of yajna, many kinds of yajna. Bahuvida yajna, brahmano mukhe vitataha. Vitata means they have been spread, uttered by Brahman. Brahma here means Veda. The word Brahman is used in the form of, with the meaning of Veda. In the Vedas, various kinds of yajna have been described. Evam bahuvida yajna, brahmano mukhe vitataha. Many kinds of sacrifices have been described in the Vedas. All of them, all actions, all sacrifice happen. How? By doing action. Action is the source of all yajna. All action must be done as yajna. All action becomes yajna if done with that attitude of offering. Karmajan sarvan tan sarvan vidhi. Vidhi means know, understand that all action, all yajna happens when you perform karma. How do we yajna? By performing karma. So karma is the root of yajna. Any action that we do should be done as yajna, as offering. So yajna happens when karma is done. Yajna originates from karma. Karmajan vidhi sarvan yajnan. Evam jnatva, by knowing this, by knowing that all action is yajna, vimoksyase, you will become free from the bondage of ignorance, from ignorance. Vimoksyase means you will achieve moksha, freedom from ignorance. Now comparison is made. Various kinds of yajna we studied so far. So there is a gradation here that is mentioned in verse number 33. We go to 33. Sreyan dravyamayad yajnat jnana yajna parantapa sarvam karma khilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Sreyan dravyamayad yajnat jnana yajna parantapa sarvam karma khilam partha jnane parisamapyate. The sacrifice of knowledge, jnana yajna, O Arjuna, is superior to sacrifice of materials. Dravya yajnat shreyaha, shreyan. Shreyan dravyamayat yajnat. Dravyamaya yajna means offering material sacrifice. One kind of yajna we saw before. Setting up a fire, we are doing various offerings, chanting various mantras to various deities. This kind of yajna is called dravya yajna, material sacrifice. better than this material sacrifice is Jnana Yajna Sreyan. Jnana Yajna means the sacrifice of knowledge. What is sacrifice? Knowledge? Sacrificing ignorance in the fire of knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Self-knowledge. In the fire of self-knowledge, in the fire of Atma Jnana, self-knowledge, sacrificing ignorance, that I am the separate person is ignorance. I am Brahman is knowledge. In the fire of self-knowledge, ignorance is sacrifice, that is Jnana Yajna. That kind of Yajna is far superior to material Yajna, where things are material things are offered into the fire. Sarvam karma akhilam, sarvam akhilam karma, all actions, jnane parismapati, culminate in knowledge. Action done as yajna gives us knowledge of the self. Sarvam karma akhilam partha, jnane parismapati. They culminate, all actions culminate in knowledge of the self if done as yajna. So he has described in the previous verses how to do every action as yajna. When we see something, it is yajna. When we hear something, it is yajna. When we eat something, it is yajna. Any action that we do should be done, should be seen and should be done as yajna. That is the way to knowledge, self-knowledge. Now, the topic is know this self-knowledge, acquire self-knowledge from those who know. Only those who know can teach. If they don't know, then they cannot teach what they don't know. What is to be done when we see a person who is a jnani? Three things are to be done. Very important. Three things to be done when you see a jnani. Jnani means one who has self-knowledge. So what are the three things? Those are described in verse number 34. Very important verse. Verse number 34. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekṣanti te jnanam jnaninastattvadarshinaha. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekṣanti te jnanam jnaninastattvadarshinaha. Know it. Tadviddi. That means knowledge of Brahman. Tadviddi. That means knowledge. Vidhi means know, understand. Tadviddi, know that. Know that means self-knowledge. How? Three things are to be done. Pranipata. Pranipatena means doing Sashtanga Pranam. 8 parts of the body should be touching the floor. What does it indicate? Indicates total devotion and surrender to the will of the Guru. Surrendering one's ego at the feet of the Guru is the meaning of doing Sashtanga Pranam, Namaskar. Dandavat Sashtanga Pranam, like a staff, you should on the floor surrender your ego, everything at the feet of the Guru, holy feet of the Guru. That is Pranipata, surrendering, giving up one's ego. Tadviddi Pranipata, know that self-knowledge. By doing Pranipata, Sashtanga Pranam, surrendering your ego. Pariprashna means inquiring into some subject from all angles and perspectives. Pari means from all around. Not just studying one aspect and then thinking, oh, I have known everything. Getting one little bit of knowledge and thinking I know everything, that is not right. We should not remain satisfied unless we know the subject very thoroughly from every aspect, from every perspective. That persistence of inquiry is called pariprashna. Not simply asking some question, but seeking clarification and getting complete knowledge from every aspect, from every perspective. That is pariprashna. Pranipatena pariprashnena. Third thing we have to do is seva. Seva means a personal service to the Guru has to be done. Te jnaninaha tattvadarshina, those jnanis who know the truth. Tattva means the truth, Brahman. Those who know the truth, tattvadarshina jnaninaha, jnanam upadekṣanti, te upadekṣanti. Te means to you, they impart knowledge of Brahman. Those who know those who have knowledge of Brahman, Tattvadarshina, who know the knowledge of, have the knowledge of Brahman, such people impart, upadekshanti, impart jnanam, the knowledge of Brahman, to you. But we have to do three things: pranipata, pariprashna, seva. Seva is very important, personal service. Earlier we saw how people like Totaka, Shankaracharya's one of the famous four disciples. Totaka was one of them. Totaka, he was not a scholarly type of person. He was doing only seva, unstintingly, wholeheartedly, with great devotion. He served Shankaracharya, his guru, with great devotion. That service with devotion itself got him Brahmajnana. Other people like this Sureshwara, all those Padmapada, they were specialized in scholarship. They were great scholars. But Totaka was not of that type. He was doing service to the Guru Shankara with great devotion. By doing service to Guru with devotion, by that alone he got the grace of Guru, he got knowledge of the self. That's Totakacharya. You can see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, Latu Maharaj, Swami Adbhutananda, he did lot of service. And also Swami Ramakrishnananda. They specialized in serving Sri Ramakrishna. That was their main discipline. They were not that much, especially Latu was not interested in studying scriptures. He remained illiterate all his life. But he got knowledge of Brahman. How? By doing service to the Guru with great devotion, following all these instructions. So service, seva is very important. Tadvidhi pranipatena, know that supreme truth, tat. By pranipata, by doing sashtang pranam, that means surrendering our ego at the feet of the Guru. Pariprasthana, by inquiring into all aspects of a subject, by thoroughly studying a subject. Sevaya, by performing selfless, devoted service to the teacher. You acquire that knowledge, tadvidhi, know that self. Te jnaninaha, those jnanis who know the truth, tattvadarshina, those who know the truth, those who know Brahman, those who have self-knowledge, te jnaninaha, jnanam upadekshanti, they teach you knowledge of the self. In the Upanishad also, the importance of seeking a guru is explained. In the Upanishad it says, Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmana nirveda mayat tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva abhigachet smit panihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Like this one passage comes in the Upanishad. Lokan pariksha, karmachitan lokan pariksha. By examining what this world can offer. And this world, everything comes as a result of effort. Anything that comes as a result of effort is going to be limited. All effort is limited. No matter how hard we work, it is still limited in time, duration and magnitude. Therefore, the result of all action is limited also. Anything that we acquire as a result of effort is going to be limited. A limited action cannot bring infinite knowledge of the self. So knowing the limitations that this world only offers limited things. Karmachitan lokan pariksha, examining the offerings of this world, how much this world can give happiness. By examining that one, Brahmana nirveda, seeker of Brahman must develop detachment to the offerings of the world. Detachment. Then what such a person should do? Tadvijnanartham, to know the self. Gurumeva abhigachet. One should approach a guru. What kind of guru? Sotriyam brahmanishtam. He must be well versed in the scriptures. Must have observed the essence of the scriptures. Sotriyam. Brahmanishtam must be established in knowledge of Brahman. How to approach? Samit panihi. Samit means dry twigs used in fire ceremony. Pani means hand. Holding in one's hand a bundle of samit, of dry twigs, to be offered in Homa sacrifice. Agnihotra, a person must approach with humility their teacher who knows the self. Then such a teacher will impart knowledge to you. That is verse number 34. Now, we have only a few minutes left. The glory of the self-knowledge is described in verse number 35. The importance and glory of self-knowledge as opposed to knowledge of the world. Two kinds of knowledge we have seen before. Paravidya, Aparavidya. Aparavidya means knowledge of the world, knowledge of all the sciences, social sciences, humanities, literature, grammar, linguistics, mathematics, astronomy, zoology, everything. All come under the umbrella of Aparavidya. That Aparavidya is important but not sufficient. We should get Paravidya. Paravidya means knowledge of the self. Para, yaya, tadaksharam adhigamyate. There's definition of Paravidya in the Upanishad. Paravidya is that knowledge by which, tadaksharam adhigamyate, that imperishable Brahman is known. Knowledge of Brahman is true knowledge. This is Paravidya. That has to be acquired. By knowing that self-knowledge, our life mission is fulfilled. That is explained in verse number 35. We'll do 35. Yajñātva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakshasyatmanyatho mayi. Yajñātva yat jñātva na punah moham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asheshena drakshyasi atmani yatho mayi. Drakshasyatmanyatho mayi. By grasping that knowledge, self-knowledge, O Arjuna, you will no longer be deluded as you now are. You don't come back to the domain of ignorance once you have self-knowledge. Once and for all, we cross the ocean of ignorance, and once we acquire self-knowledge, there is no coming back to the realm of, once we acquire self-knowledge, there is no coming back to the realm of ignorance. Yajñātva, by knowing which, evam, in this way, by knowing Brahman, punaha, by doing all actions as yajna. Evam means by doing all actions as yajna, we acquire knowledge of Brahman. By acquiring knowledge of Brahman, yajñātva, by knowing which, punaha moham nayasyasi, you will never again fall into delusion. Moha means delusion, ignorance. Yena, by which self-knowledge, asheshena, completely, bhutani, all the beings, living beings and non-living beings, asheshena bhutani, atmani drakshyasi, tatha mayi yashyasi, mayi drakshyasi. You see all beings, starting from Brahma the creator, Brahmadini stamba paryantam, down to the blade of grass, beginning from Brahma to the creator to down to the blade of grass, all beings, animate, inanimate, moving, unmoving, are seen in the self, one's own self, and in God. That is self-knowledge, seeing everything in the self. That is explained in the verse numbers 30 in chapter 6, 630. There Sri Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. He who sees me in all in me, to such a person I am never lost, Sri Krishna says. So the end of self-knowledge is to see all beings in the self and the self in all the beings. That is the culmination of self-knowledge. So here we stop here with verse number 35. Next time, God willing, we will continue from verse number 36. Now I shall say the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from diseases, may all realize what is noble and auspicious, may no one be subject to misery. Om peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts, may there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, and may there be peace everywhere in nature. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well until we see next time. Thank you very much.